Good evening, everyone. This is Dr. Larry White Sr. Welcome to the Dr. Larry White Sr. Show, hosted by Source Nation. And also, I just want to give a big shout out to Tracy Jeffcoat, our executive producer, just behind the scenes, always doing a wonderful job for us. And we have an amazing show. My good friend, great confidant, um, Dr. Essie Mckoy, who you will hear from shortly. She's amazing. She's a retired educator, higher education educator, higher education guru, but now she's started her own business, Dr. Essie Speaks, and she's a published author. So look, before we go into it, look, I want to say something. I want to invite everybody to my book launch, November 8th at Libation 6 to 9. Come on out. Dr. Essie Mckoy is going to be in the building, who we're going to interview shortly. But, you know, it just is a really good read. So come on out. We're going to talk about Dr. Essie's book here shortly. But come on out and get connected, be empowered, mind, body, and spirit. So without further ado, I want to invite and welcome Dr. Essie Mckoy to the show.
Good evening, Dr. White, and thank you so very much for having me this evening.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So look, let's get right to it. Tell us a little bit about who you are on the personal side, how you got into education, and then tell us a little bit about you professionally.
Okay, so I currently have two kids. Marcus and Charlotte are the loves of my life. My daughter is in the Coast Guard, and my son is a baseball player. So they are growing and learning and developing and becoming young adults and doing quite well. I started in the field of education. I've always actually wanted to be an educator. I recall growing up playing school, and definitely that continued throughout middle and high school, and then decided to go to college and major in education. Went to school and definitely continued that journey. I have been, as you said before, in the field of education for almost 30 years, in higher education at George Mason University right now. So I started my educational career at Winston-Salem State University in terms of getting my degree, and then continued as a teacher at the middle school level, became an assistant principal, actually stayed in educational leadership for almost 20 years, going into schools and transforming schools and really impacting the lives of others and trying to make a positive impact.
You know, Dr. McCoy, I've had the opportunity to follow you for the past 6 months to see what a wonderful job you've done over the past 30 years, impacting kids in North Carolina, in those school systems, and now to be a published author, to write a book. Tell us a little bit about the book and how you're going to transform that book into what you've done for 30 years, and now to go on the road with speaking engagements, to be a voice for educators that may not have had a voice, to go out and say, look, now I'm just not going to retire and live in my home, but now you're going to be on the road speaking and teaching families to be, get that well-rounded education for, the whole family. So talk to us about your next journey as you matriculate over to entrepreneur and now published author.
So actually, after I retired in July, I opened my own business, Dr. Essie Speaks. And under that business, I have teacher development, leadership development, also national speaking engagements, and writing books. This is my first book. Definitely, I've started on many more, but I have a bigger platform in order to make an impact in the field of education. The title of my book is The Heart of School Transformation, My Journey into Transforming Urban Schools, because I've spent my entire career in an urban school district. Definitely, I want to continue to share about education in many, many different venues. I want to really make an impact, not only academically, but socially, emotionally, psychologically, environmentally, because we know that we have to really impact the whole child. So any platform, whether I'm in church, whether I'm at a business, sharing about education, I am always asked questions about education. And I have a lot of knowledge, thank goodness, from my journey, my experience for 30 years, the past 30 years, elementary, middle, high school, post secondary, and higher education. So I try to share everything that I know, just share the wealth of information with others.
Well, look, Dr. McCoy, let me ask you, as a mother, entrepreneur, now a published author, how do you find the time management to be with your family and then promote your business? How do you do everything? And now you're at George Mason on this second life. Now your first half of your life you were a great educator. Now you're going to go out there, teach people through your book and your product and services, and still be able to manage to be a mom. How do you keep everything together?
Well, that's interesting that you asked that question, because when I was working on my degrees, I went back to school once I became a teacher, assistant principal, principal. I've always wanted to make a bigger impact. And so, in order for me to do that, I had to get the credentials, the certification, and the education. Got my bachelor's degree, my master's degree, my EDS degree, my doctorate degree, working on a fifth degree now. And so, I had a lot of support when my kids were younger. And so interestingly, my daughter used to make comments, Mom, I think you love the kids at school more than you love me because you spend more time with them. And so now in my journey that I've retired and created my own business, I get an opportunity to spend quality time with my kids when they're in the area or when I go to visit them. So I'm doing it a little bit in reverse, but that's okay as long as I get to bond. First and foremost, I put God first and ask Him to guide me and lead me. I create goals and look at a time frame when I want to achieve those goals. And that's with anything that you want to accomplish in life. So it's so very important that you do put strategies in place and think about where do you want to be in 1 year, in 3 years, in 5 years. And I do that with my personal life and also my professional life.
So, Dr. McCoy, we're giving us all of that information, being a retired educator, a mother, entrepreneur, an author. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I definitely will have probably about 4 or 5 more books written during that time frame. I right now am working on more teacher development, so I do want to lean more towards leadership development. I want to do more speaking engagements. Definitely, I have a passion, a personal passion, experience of the journey of my son in baseball. So I want to share on a bigger platform in order to really impact the field of baseball in getting more African American young boys in that sport. So I see a whole lot in my future in 5 years from now. And I'm really excited about it. I have to sometimes slow myself down because once I set a goal, I want to achieve it quickly. But I have to be realistic about it and really look at all the factors that will impact me achieving that goal as I move forward.
Well, look, you just said a mouthful, but let's just touch a little bit about you're a mother of an African American baseball player. Not only just a player, but he's a pitcher. And if I understand correctly, he's a lefty because, growing up with Reggie Jackson, Barry Bonds, all these guys, African Americans seemingly have lost the taste for the sport of baseball. Talk to us a little bit about being a mom. How did you come up just keeping your son in baseball? Because it's a very expensive sport. You see, a lot of basketball players and football players, but baseball, we grew up on that. If you were born in the 60s and grew up in the 70s, we watched baseball. We watched Reggie Jackson and all these people. And you look at today, you really don't see a lot of African Americans. So talk to us a little bit about being a great mom and how you stayed the course and keeping your son in a sport that once was dominated by African Americans, but now it's kind of taken over by the Hispanic culture.
You're right. I think the last time I looked at the statistics, it showed less than 6% in the MLB. My son isn't in the MLB yet, but he will be. I'm going to decree and declare that. He's working very diligently. and trying to continue to improve his skills. I told both of my kids growing up to always do what you love and love what you do. My son is very athletic, has played basketball, football, did exceptionally well, but in his heart is baseball. And no matter what, I cannot take that from him. So, as a mother and his father at the time, it was very important for us to support and nurture him and to really have conversations with him. Yes, we did encounter some experiences that were not positive, but it helped him to grow. He overcame obstacles and he was able to achieve at the next level. And so, right now, he's getting ready to go into his last year of college. And he's in training, and I'll be posting information about that a little bit later on once he decides on what college, university he's going to attend. Because I do know I have a lot of Facebook friends who do follow him and always ask me about him. So I want him to use his experience, his journey in the field of baseball, really to impact other kids and really to make a powerful impact, not just any impact, but a powerful impact to let kids know that baseball is a great sport. Yes, you have to have individual talents in order to continue to excel in that area. Yes, it's very expensive, but there are ways that you can also provide resources in other avenues. And so I just want to have that platform one day in order to share with students and with kids and just parents about how you go about doing that.
Dr. Essie Mckoy, you have just shared so much great things for us, and I really appreciate that. And I want to congratulate you being an African American mom, keeping the sport still relevant in the African American community with an African American pitcher. And let's go out there, when he is selected to the MLB to support him. So I look forward to a couple of tickets, but I'll pay for some as well, Doc. You know what I'm saying?
All right,
Um,
thank you.
Oh, I got you. So let's talk about your business a little bit. Tell us about your product and services, what you're offering for a higher education person, author, now an entrepreneur. And then give us your website. Once you finish telling us what you offer, please end up telling us how people can contact you with your website and product and services. But as a higher education person, author in your book, what do you offer, your product and services, and then leave us with your website and contact information, please.
Indeed. So I talked about the fact that I've been in the field of education for 30 years. So I have done pre-K all the way through 12th grade and beyond. And so definitely it can be special education, transformational leadership. That is really my focus. I had an opportunity to go into inner city schools and really transform them as a leader. The first school I went into, it was no growth to a signature school, 14 points. And that's not easy. I had 830 kids, large African American, Latino population, no PTA. Every acronym that you could possibly think of in a negative way was given to the school, all the schools that I've been in. The second school I went into, when I walked in the door, those educators out there listening, they know about the EVOS index. And so when I walked in the door, it was a minus 3.32. When I left, it was a plus 2.24. And the last school that I went into, the EVOS index was a minus 8.99. And right before I retired, we had reduced that by 4.72. So it is a journey. It takes time to transform a school. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't even happen in a few years. It takes, according to the research, 3 to 5 years. In the highly impacted schools, it will take even more time. So anything in education, I have been really, able to master a lot of great things in terms of transforming schools. Once again, pre-K through college, anything about education. If I don't know it, guess what? I'm going to seek that answer and I will help you in some capacity. I really try to focus on teacher development and leadership development, helping other leaders to grow and to hone their skills and to continue to develop so that they can make a greater impact because we know that teachers can make an impact in their classroom, but the most important thing is for us to bridge those gaps and make a great impact throughout the school and throughout the school districts and throughout the nation, so that we can say that our educational system is continuing to improve and we are getting better and our kids are growing. So you look at the growth, you look at the proficiency, but definitely teacher development and leadership development. Those are the big two that I really want to hone in on and focus on. My
But
website.
yeah, no, you're okay. So Dr. Essie Mckoy, we're going to get to your website in a moment. Tell us to include with your website upcoming events where people can get your book. You will sign it. Give us the upcoming events and the dates, and also, of course, your website.
Yes, indeed. So, upcoming events, I actually have one November the 10th. It is going to be at the Forsyth County Public Library here in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, from 11 until 2. We're going to have food trucks. We're going to have authors. We're going to have books to sell. So, please come and join me and support me in this journey as we go across the nation to impact the field of education. Also, I have another event that same day. I will not be there in person, but it will be the Elite Conference, and that will be in Maryland. So I'll make sure that I continue to get that information out there so that everyone will be aware. I then have another book signing in Old Historic Manassas again at Prospero's bookstore. And so I ask and invite you to come out once again. Please check out my website. It is www.dressiespeaks.com, and I will continue to update everyone on all the information, upcoming events, how you can go about getting my book is also posted there. So you will see all that information once again on my website.
You know what, Dr. McKoy, this has been a really great conversation. You know, I know you very well. I know your heart is with the millennials, the youth. You have helped out so many people. We talked about this earlier today. You know, how you've helped, you know, our youth that are now in corporate America, you know, not to date you, but 30 plus years, and you're still going on and to now write your book. So I want to thank you for being on the show. And one last question, if you can just tell everybody once more, just one more time, you know how we need to always tell us the website one more time, how people can get a hold to you for speaking engagements, book signings, your website and your contact information one more time.
dressiespeaks.com. I am on all the social media platforms. You can reach me. Again, my number 336-416-9728. But I assure you, if you go to my website, you will see all the contact information, and I will respond to all the emails and phone calls. So once again, please take a look at it.
You've heard it here first from the Dr. Larry White Senior Show. We have had Dr. Essie McKoy. You're going to see some great things coming from her. We'll definitely have her on the show again. But again, I want to just shout out to Source Nation, Tracy Jeffcoat. I'm going to miss you, girl. You know, I said it live here on Source Nation. Look for some greater things to come down the pike here on the Dr. Larry White Senior Show. And I want to thank my special VIP guest tonight, Dr. Essie McKoy, who's absolutely amazing. Blessed spirit. So everybody, I will see you next Sunday at 6:30, and look for possibly a different format. But I just want to thank you all for just chiming in. You can go to our website at www.vipevents with an S. That's www.vipevents.concierge.com. God bless you. Go out and purchase Dr. Essie McKoy's book. Go out and purchase my book as well. And Dr. Essie McKoy, do you have your book up there? You have your book?
I do.
Let's get that up there.
And I do want to say thank you, Dr. White, for all of your assistance on this journey. It has been wonderful, and you are such a blessing, and give my love to your wife and your family. So once again, God bless you and thank you.
Listen, we appreciate you, Dr. Essie McKoy. She's also the Senior VP of Operations for the DMV Mastermind Group. You can catch me in Virginia Beach, November 17th and 18th with Minister Stacy Ladisaw Jackson. I'm looking forward to that opportunity. Shout out to Kimberly McLemore, who just finished an amazing event with Christy Hicks in Easton, Pennsylvania. We connect people. That's what we do around here. We connect like-minded people together. If you're ready, then I'm ready, okay? So I want to thank everybody. Again, shout out to Source Nation, Kathy B. Most importantly, God and Tracy Jeffcoat that made all of this possible. Tracy Jeffcoat, you have no idea how we appreciate you for making the Dr. Larry White Senior Show absolutely amazing. For our special VIP guest tonight, Dr. and now author, published author, Essie Mckoy. So God bless you all. Have a blessed week. And remember to be a blessing to someone this week. Amen. God bless.
Amen. Thank you.
Get at me for beats, yo.